I'm back with this is the Dalai Lama. Let us talk China for a moment. China has become, in your lifetime, arguably now one of the two great superpowers of the world, and may well, economically, in the next 10, 15 years, become the #1 superpower in the world. What do you think of modern China and how it's changed in the time that you've been Dalai Lama?
Of course, big change. Now, China, most populated nation, and also long history. I think really Chinese, I think they really so long history of civilization, rich culture. And I think nobody argue with the richness of their food. However, in modern China, a lot of ups and downs. But I have full faith Chinese people. They are hardworking, realistic. So, the last, I think, 60 years, I think they already tested sort of different sort of experience. I think modern China, they got sort of really troubled experience during Cultural Revolution. So after Cultural Revolution, seems they opened their eye. So things are changing. Deng Xiaoping, I think, a very realistic person. Somehow he's communist, lifelong communist sort of dedicated person. So he very much sort of keep the political power. Now that also now changing. Now President Prime Minister Wen Xiaobo quite often, several occasions, including one, I think his meeting with CNN, he mentioned China needs political reform. So he seems to say really...
Are you pleased when you hear that?
Oh yes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my fundamental belief, you see, China belongs to 1.3 billion Chinese people, not Communist Party or Kuomintang Party.
But is China's power...
So things are changing.
But is China's new power good for Tibet, or is it dangerous for Tibet? Because the rest of the world may become so fearful of offending the Chinese that they stop talking about Tibet.
Yes, in some fields, yes, that's right. More sort of cautious. But somehow, it's a Tibet issue. Yes, it's a very much sort of today just an issue, and also involve moral issue. So, number of Chinese also now showing their genuine sort of the sense of solidarity with us. And the world, many parts of the world, at least who knows something about Tibet, about its current situation, I think very, very sort of sympathetic. So they have very much concern. And the political field, or including some business company, yes, sometimes it's in the little bit sort of cautious.
How did you feel when President Obama delayed his meeting with you when he became president because the Chinese objected and he met with them first? Did that offend you?
No.
Did you understand why he did that?
Actually, he sent one special sort of representative, and he says something, envoy or something, sent to me, explained the reason. And there's sufficient reason. So better. First his meeting, I think without some point with Chinese complaining. So better.
You understood that?
Yes. Then soon after he returned, he want see me.
And he gave you a 70-minute meeting, which is the longest time, I believe, that any American president has ever spent with you in one meeting. What did he say to you, President Obama? Did he give you assurances that he is going to help you? He inquired about Tibet. I also explained about this current situation and our thinking. And he showed sort of, the genuine sort of, the commitment about the Tibetan issue. Does he share your vision, which is for a Tibet that has shared power between Tibet and China? Does he share that vision?
Yes, he fully support about our middle approach, not seeking separation for our own interest. I explained these things. Of course, he already knows. Then after our meeting, the White House formally, some press sort of note is made. Clearly it's mentioned their support. Like that. Very, very good. Very good meeting.
Activists.
And then also my sort of meeting, the previous Mr. Bush and Clinton, and even so this senior or the father of Mr. Bush's father, that Bush, also I met. It was very nice. Very nice. All very nice.
Since the start of 2011, activists say that over 30 Tibetans have self-immolated. Obviously a very serious escalation in the number of people taking their lives in this way. As their holy leader, what do you feel about this? What do you say to people who are thinking of doing the same thing? And why are more people doing this now?
Of course, it is extremely sad, very sad. But this is not something new. In China itself, I think during Cultural Revolution, one important Chinese monastery abbot himself burned. And then Vietnam also, you see, it happened. And there are also such sort of cases there. These are one way they believe non-violence. And then the things are desperate. Then instead of harming others, they simply sacrifice their own life. So very sad. So now, important thing is not sufficient just to express we are very sad, but we must think what is the causes of this sort of desperate situation.
And what do you think it is?
That's obvious. I often telling, including some Chinese sort of friend, now time comes. The Chinese government must think seriously, and then they must follow regarding sort of policy regarding what's the minority. They must follow the policy as things should be stated, seeking truth from fact. So their policy must be realistic. They must accept the reality. Then the things, once they know the reality, and then process a policy according to that reality, that's a realistic policy.
But many of the Tibetans who are taking their lives are doing so because they want a free Tibet. That implies that they want separation from China, but that's not what you want.
No,
you don't think that's achievable. You think that it's better to have a shared power. So what do you say to these young Tibetans who are desperate for a free Tibet, who are chasing separation? Do you think it's time that they were told?
Among Tibetan, some say yes, they are sort of their main sort of purpose, my return. So some people say that means independence. But many Tibetans, feel, if they really want me back, they really trust me, then automatically they will sort of agree my view. So it is quite a contradiction. They want Dalai Lama, but they do not want Dalai Lama's idea. It is contradiction.
But that is a big problem, isn't it?
I don't think, no. Of course, some people, they say right from the beginning, they always say, we want complete independence. But the majority of the people, not only here, but also inside Tibet, last, few decades, they say, I had few occasions, or say they collected their views, even within Tibet. Of course, not large scale, we cannot do, but from pockets. So most of the people, particularly more educated, more sort of realistic thinking, they all fully support.
Do you believe the new Chinese leadership are getting close to doing some kind of deal with Tibet or not? Do you believe that they are thinking the right way?
Now, firstly, you see, their sort of policy regarding their own people, now things, you see, there are indication. Poshirai, you see, dismiss. So these are indication, the more moderate, more realistic thinking, they seems gaining upper hand, but still too early to say. So once the Chinese leaders, communist leaders, they really thinking more realistic way, then Tibet issue very easily can solve, and also the issue of Uyghur people, Xinjiang sort of autonomy, and also in Inner Mongolia and rest of the China. I think they are sort of, I always see expressing 1.3 billion Chinese people have every right to know the reality. Once people know the reality, 1.3 billion Chinese people also have the ability to judge what is right, what is wrong. Therefore, the censorship is immoral. Chinese people should know the reality. So censorship is really very, very sort of backwards.
If the censorship goes and the reality comes out, there is more chance of a deal.
Certainly, 100%.
Let's take a short break. I'm going to come back and talk to you about America. I want you to tell the American people what you think of modern America and how to keep America great. Because you've seen America for 6 decades, 7 decades now. I'm interested in your view.
America?
After this break.
Most women may not be properly absorbing the calcium they take.